If you're not in the driver's seat of your life, then somebody else is. What I mean by that is who's in control of your life? Are you calling the shots? Do you have that agency in your life where you've structured it in a way and created a lifestyle in a way that you are in the owner's seat, or are you just along for the ride? Are you a passenger? I recently got to hear Jamil Damji speak in Orlando. He's one of the top real estate investors in the country, and he had some life lessons that he shared that I thought were worth thinking about and sharing here as well. If you weren't at the event, which was most people, but these lessons are very valuable. And one of the things he talked about was this idea that people think they're more disadvantaged than they really are. But the truth is that the only disadvantage is if you're not willing to learn. Have you shut off that part of your life? You think, oh, well, I'm done with school. I've learned what I needed to learn. I got my high school degree or whatever it is. So now I'll just go to work and do my job and stop learning. That is a disadvantage, that mindset. And so you need to think about, why have I stopped trying to learn new things? There might be some beliefs rooted in you that you're capped out, like you've reached your potential in this or that. There's no hope for a brighter future, or you might not feel capable of changing. And whatever those beliefs are, they could be limiting you. And from what I've seen, in the most part, for the most part, people stop themselves with pursuing what they wanted to do because they stop trying to learn. They stop learning new things, or even worse, they think they already know enough. And so they become a know it all rather than a learn it all. And that was one thing that the GM of the Los Angeles Clippers talked about. His name's Kevin Eastman. And he attributed his success to not being a know it all. He took pride in being the quote dumbest guy in the room. He was always putting himself around people who knew more than him or had more experience. And he's always been a sponge his whole life, always trying to learn more, becoming a learn it all is how he described it. And he, by normal standards, you might say this guy is extremely successful. And I would agree with that, but he's continuing to stretch himself and grow himself by his willingness to continue learning things. And then this realization too, that if you're not in the driver's seat of your life, that there's only one option. It's either you or it's somebody else. So what can you do to be in the driver's seat of your life? Take ownership and have an owner's mentality in how you're going about things. And also recognize you're responsible for the results of your life. As simple as that sounds, there's no one to blame but yourself for where you are. Wherever you are, if it's in a good place or a mediocre place or a place you're just totally discontent with, can you have enough maturity and take enough responsibility for your life to say, you know what, wherever I am, it's my fault. It's my fault. Those were my choices. And the problem is when people feel like they don't have choices and they start to default to things, or they'll start to point the finger and blame others for why they are where they are. Now, things might have happened to you. Things have happened to me. That's life. There's things that are going to happen. But when you start abdicating that responsibility and feeling like you have no control, that's when someone else is going to be in the driver's seat. And so I would encourage you to evaluate those beliefs or around what you think you're worthy of. And do you feel worthy to take ownership of your life and make the decisions that are going to be what you can live with? Whichever direction you go, I would just encourage you, do whatever you can to not be in the passenger seat of your life and get back in the driver's seat where you belong.